Hello and welcome to the first of our installment series for the IBM Mobile Quality Assurance Open Beta Study Group. The goal of this study group is to support the Mobile Quality Assurance Beta, which was announced on DeveloperWorks. And this is a 5-part series, possibly more as we get more interest over time here in these wonderful time-saving capabilities that we'll see in MQA. And when you hear me mention MQA, I am referring to Mobile Quality Assurance. My name is Roger Snook. I'm a worldwide enablement leader at IBM, covering mobile and a few other topics. You can find me on LinkedIn. This content will be uploaded to SlideShare as well as here on Connections and our Smart Cloud event environment. We also have IBM guest speakers Sanji Alwith, Stanton Champion, and Roy Solomon, and I'll introduce them a little bit later as we progress through our session today. This session is being recorded. If you don't want to be recorded, please drop now. There will be an opportunity for Q&A a little bit later in the session, and I'll open up the phone lines to do that later. If you have a question that you'd like to ask now, there is a chat bubble on the right-hand side of your screen. Please post your questions in there, and we'll get to those questions as we go through today's session. We hope this will prove to be valuable for you, for anyone that's doing mobile development. I wanted to first throw out another disclaimer in here that this is an open beta, so this is nothing we're selling at this point in time. So this is preview technology, open beta technology. So if we do make some statements here, please note that those are subject to change as this open beta evolves over time. But thank you again for joining. You know, I can't really start this discussion without really telling you first about Mobile First. And if you haven't heard the news over the last year, IBM launched a Mobile First initiative simply because our customers are looking to engage further with their customers as a way to do business through mobile devices and smartphones. And if you look at some of the numbers here, 91% of the mobile users keep their device within arm's reach almost all the time, and that's a great way to do business and interact with your customers. Since that brand and that information is being carried around on your smartphone all the time, it's a great way to reach out to customers. And certainly it's about driving those transactions into the customer environment and from the customer environment. There are a lot of studies and polls being done. Certainly, a major pizza chain in the United States estimates that within 3 years, 75% of their transactions are going to be driven through their mobile phone experience. And once again, it creates a continuous brand experience across that spectrum of customers, partners, employees to drive transactions and deepen the engagement with customers. And this is what the Mobile First strategy is all about. And it's a set of technologies and expertise that you'll see here in a little bit more in the slides coming that talk about this capability. Of course, apps just don't fall out of the sky. We will talk about over-the-air distribution a little bit later, but mobile applications need to be built. And to support this deeper engagement with customers and the high-volume transactions that are happening with mobile devices, mobile application development supporting that is a top priority for business. And what you're seeing here is that 90% of developers are actually targeting a further profile, not just the smartphone, but targeting tablets and looking to extend that experience a little bit deeper into the phone's capabilities with hybrid applications. And of course, the number of devices, sheer number of devices on the market is growing incredibly, and quite a number of variety of different devices as well. And we'll talk a little bit about that as it poses an interesting complexity for developers. But mobile development is very different. Mobile apps are different. When you look at, for example, a city in the U.S. has a really good citizen services portal where you can report potholes or traffic lights, that are down. However, you have to specify an address or location where those items are. And with a smartphone, you can simply grab that information right from the geolocation of the phone. So it makes that transaction a much smoother and context-aware experience to improve the usability of applications. And of course, development itself is different. If any of you have a smartphone, you know you get application updates very frequently, and those development cycles are becoming much more rapid. As a means to differentiate mobile applications from one another, our customers are driving to put out new capabilities and features on a faster life cycle than ever before. And that really means that customers are getting more demanding, but it also means there needs to be a high level of automation throughout the development process to drive that. You cannot do development in the same old ways that we've done before. If it takes 4 to 6 weeks to drive out an application change, your competition may already have delivered that change. And so there are a bunch of other things that are very different in this aspect that the mobile-first platform covers. But when we look at a whole enterprise development lifecycle for mobile, it really takes into account many successful disciplines. So there's certainly new ways to do design and development of applications, instrument to get a better idea what components users might be using in your application, integrating back-end information sources and systems and databases in a seamless way and secure way that you can get that information adequately into your mobile application. Certainly testing and security testing to ensure that that application is going to meet the quality demands of the marketplace. We'll talk certainly a lot more about this today. Deploying and managing those applications, selectively deploying, managing those applications in their target environments, but also managing the devices themselves and being able to, from a centralized IT standpoint, be able to disable devices in a broader scheme of mobile deployment for enterprises is certainly a key capability if devices that have key information on them get lost or stolen. And then closing the loop, reviewing and obtaining some insight about the work you've done throughout that life cycle of your mobile enterprise and be able to shift gears very quickly and add new features that you'll design and develop into your life cycle and repeat this whole process again. Much like how iterative development has evolved into agile development, the same can be said of the entire mobile enterprise life cycle. Now, when we look at a comprehensive software development capability, it's interesting to note that in a recent study of the Institute for Business Value, they determined that 86% of the companies believe having a software delivery capability is important or critical to a business, yet only 25% of those businesses actually are able to leverage that software development capability effectively. However, out of those, almost 3/4 of those who do outperform their competition. So once again, organizations that can effectively leverage software development capabilities tend to outperform those who don't. And when you put some key capabilities in and around that life cycle, you can quickly see who are the outperformers in that industry. So closing out that thought on the mobile-first messaging certainly is at its core, what we'll dive into a little bit more here today, is a key and rich application and data platform that's at the center of this mobile-first offering portfolio. But, of course, the mobile-first offering portfolio is more than just that. As you can see, there's many different capabilities and factors here that are important to our customers to build that capability to help them outperform their competition. And you can visit ibm.com/mobilefirst for more of that information here. Today, we're really going to focus on mobile quality. And what I mean by mobile quality is many things. Quality often begins right from the beginning, as they often say, design with quality. So design and developing an application that can be tested effectively across all the platforms and devices. So certainly there's the careful design and development capabilities, certainly in the testing to verify the quality, including security, but also having quality deployments and knowing that you can control certain application versions for deployment. And then again, closing the loop on some insight and reviewing some of the feedback and or crash reports or bug reports and making some decisions on where to go next back into your design and development life cycle is a key part of this overall focus on mobile quality. Mobile quality has a big impact, but it's, you know, over the years, if you've been involved with software development teams, you know that software teams struggle with this quality versus time impact. And while there are a number of different stories on software quality here, in particular with respect to mobile, bottom line, when, you know, mobile development teams are asked, those who claim that testing and quality assurance is in their top 5, that same group of people are saying that they're challenged with developing applications as quickly as management wants. I think some of this can actually also be seen in the United States with some of the healthcare initiatives that are underway and the information systems that are supporting that. But, you know, quality is not a stranger to many applications, and mobile certainly puts this front and center in our application users' hands, and certainly has some big impact on the business. Mobile application quality is certainly more complex. If you look at this chart, this is actually a test matrix for just Android devices. If you can think about all the different variants of Android devices that are on the marketplace, they are numerous, and they have different not only operating system versions and manufacturer versions, but there's also different capabilities as well as different screen resolutions and sizes that make it a very interesting challenge for many in this space to do some testing. Certainly the consumerization of the technology as more and more users gravitate towards you know, mobile applications. It's not necessarily always a cut and dry ability to measure the quality of an application, but it's also very much a subjective component to it. Does the quality of this application feel right to me? And that you'll see mostly in the consumer ratings in the app stores. These app stores, which are the place to get the applications, Apple App Store or Android Google Play, you know, has all these ratings that are there. And, you know, again, these are subjective ratings that certainly can help stop people from installing applications in the first place. If you were to look at this and see this application had a 1-star rating for most users, you might not be interested in doing that. So it's really important to get quality right enough on the get-go of the application release delivery to get some momentum around those customer ratings and to continuously deliver applications with a incredibly short time to feedback, that is, respond to the feedback quickly in the customer ratings to be able to turn this around and drive improved quality over time. So the focus really is on reducing the time to feedback versus necessarily just driving down the defect count. All software has defects. So now, of course, mobile in the context of what you'll hear more in IBM's branding is around the DevOps Lifecycle, is this emphasis on driving continuous delivery of high-quality mobile applications, whether they're HTML5-based, hybrid, or native, supporting multiple operating environments and devices with a single shared code base, really means that customers need to plan and measure their efforts, do the development and testing, and certainly we have products like Rational Test Workbench, which can test the user interface for these applications on a continuous basis. Plan your release and deployment to be able to orchestrate that across the team members, utilizing some of the analytics software such as T-Leaf to instrument your application and get better insight into what's going on with your application's usage. And then, of course, what we're going to talk about today, which is the IBM Mobile Quality Assurance. So without further ado, let me transition over to Sanji. And Sanji, I'm going to go ahead and transfer control to you to help introduce IBM Mobile Quality Assurance in our open beta. Sanji? Sanjay, if you haven't hit *6 on your phone, please.
Thanks, Roger. So IBM Mobile Quality Assurance provides everything an organization needs to deliver high-quality mobile apps. The product brings together in one place user feedback, app performance, test results, bug reports, and sentiment analysis. And that enables the product to drive prioritization and development of mobile app updates that address issues before they affect reputation. It's a product that's applicable to all verticals and addresses two very important client needs. Does the app design meet the end user need and achieve the business objectives? And then it also helps development teams verify that the app works in the complicated, fragmented environment of mobile devices and operating systems that Roger referred to earlier. We do this by delivering two key value propositions. MQA provides business professionals with insightful, high-quality feedback and metrics and enables them to dramatically improve decisions on mobile app investments and priorities. And then MQA also allows the development team, it provides the development team with everything they need to deliver the highest quality mobile applications through rapid inclusion of quality feedback throughout the whole development cycle. So we'll hit on a few of we'll get into more granular detail over some of the key benefits, but again, at a very high level, mobile quality assurance is a key ingredient like Worklight, like T-Leaf, like Rational Test Workbench in making and delivering a great mobile app. My colleague Stanton now is going to describe some of the feedback loops and the development cycle and get into some of the features that MQA provides.
Well, good morning, everyone, or afternoon or evening, depending on where you are in the world. I'm Stanton Champion, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of the things that MQA provides and how that actually helps close the loop between users, testers, and developers. So there are 5 use cases we're going to talk about. Use case number 1 is a developer distributing their app to their testers and to their users. Use case number 2 is reporting bugs. The testers actually discovering problems and bugs and actually reporting those back to the developers. Use case number 3 is the device automatically reporting crashes. So for those of you who have a mobile device, whether it's an Apple device or an Android device, you've probably likely seen an app crash before. On iOS, it crashes, it returns back to the home screen. On Android, it may give you an error message of some form. In either case, though, what MQA does is it makes it easy to actually take this information from the crash and automatically send that back to the developer. We'll talk about that in a second. Use case number 4 is where the users themselves, the actual end customers, the people who are actually the final users of the app, can provide feedback directly back to the developer to help them improve the app. And then use case number 5 is where the developer can actually analyze things happening in the App Store to learn more about what the users are saying and thinking about this particular app so that they can make more informed improvements to the application going forward. So mobile quality assurance has features that support each of these use cases. So use case number 1, distributing the app to the testers. MQA offers a feature that we call over-the-air build distribution. It makes it very easy for a developer to distribute a new version of their application to their testing community. That could be something, by the way, a developer may do multiple times per day, even. Some of the more rapid development agencies are actually developing things where they create a new build once or multiple times per day and need to get those builds into the hands of their testers. Even though they may not distribute a new version to the app stores that often, they may need to distribute new versions to test new features, improve bugs, and actually create a final version that may be ready for the app store that they could release once every week or even month. But their testing community needs access to regular, very frequent builds. Use case number 2 is a feature we call in-app bug reporting, which is great. So the use case here is the tester discovers a bug in their application. the application has a problem, maybe something is broken, text is off-centered, there's a graphic error, and so forth. They want to report that bug. Reporting a bug from a mobile device today is pretty difficult. You have to take a screenshot. For those of you on iOS, there's a magic button combination that does it. Most people don't know what it is. Then you have to get the screenshot off the device, then you have to go to some other computer and sit down in front of a web browser and download the screenshot and then write a bug report, and it gets very ugly and complicated. What MQA does is it makes it easy to report the bug right from within the application. The flow is all right there, the screenshot capabilities are all right there, and a user can report a bug immediately from within the application and have that in the hands of their developer right away. The developer knows what's going on instantly. I'll skip to use case number 4, which I think was 3 on the previous slide, which is crash log reporting. And again, I mentioned that an application crashes, and there's no way of really knowing what happened or why for a user point of view. So if I'm a tester or if I'm a user and my application crashes, how do I actually determine the root cause of that? And then how do I inform the developer about that crash? How do I actually give them useful information that they can use to go and fix the issue? And the answer is that MQA makes it easy to actually automatically report the crash directly from the device. The user or the tester does not have to get involved. And it can go right back to the developer, and they can see immediately what went wrong and why. And then lastly, the in-app user feedback is a great feature to actually learn more about what's happening in your user's mind as they encounter things that they have questions about, concerns about. They want to give you feedback. They want to give you a piece of their mind, whatever the case may be. MQA makes it easy to embed a feedback feature directly into the application where you can click a button or any other widget within the application that's up to the developer, and then the user can write feedback directly into the app, send it to MQA along with details about their device, their platform, everything else. So the developer can make informed understandings of what the feedback means, both from the user's point of view as well as within context of the device they're using. Number 5, all the way on the left, is sentiment analysis. This is a feature that's coming soon. It's not yet in the beta, but it's a feature we're excited about where we're going to be able to provide detailed information about the app in the app stores, both Google and Apple, and give marketers and line of business owners information about what's actually happening with their apps in terms of real-world perspective. What are users saying? What are they thinking? How are they rating it? And what does that actually mean for developing new features and going forward? And we'll talk a little bit about that in the next few minutes as well. But as I mentioned, it's a feature that's coming soon. Ultimately, we want to help the software team get much smarter about their mobile apps. We want to help everyone in this organization here, from the line of business owner all the way down to the end user, actually do more and provide more valuable information and be smarter about how the app works. The line of business owner wants to measure things like how effective is the app at engaging customers and how can they stay on top of the quality metrics that are important for creating an app that people love. The developer really has 2 goals. They want to have visibility into the issues that customers are experiencing so that they can make more informed decisions about features that they need to work on and bugs they need to fix, as well as to get more people using the most recent version of their app. You think about it from a developer's point of view. They put a lot of time into adding features and fixing a bug and creating a new build, and then they get it ready, but then no one in their testing community downloads it. They're too busy, they forget, they don't notice that there's a new version, and so forth. And so, the developer doesn't get any feedback about the latest version of their application. They may be getting feedback about a much older version of the application. And this is actually something that they care deeply about, making sure that users are actually always up to date on the latest version. From the tester's point of view, they have a different problem. They want to actually get the latest version. They really want to test the latest version. They just may not have visibility or the time to actually update. But more importantly, they want to be able to submit all of the issues that they discover quickly and easily without a lot of friction. You think about a good tester, they may discover multiple issues in a day, and they need to actually get all of those things over to their developers as quickly and easily as possible. And if there's friction in the way, that can slow them down. It can mean they're reporting fewer issues or only the biggest issues, as opposed to all of the ones that could matter. Finally, the end users want to be able to provide more feedback. They want to be able to provide more information back to their vendors or to their companies that they've supported by buying or downloading the app about their experience, about what they think, about what they want, and they'd like a way to actually make that happen. So, mobile quality assurance provides value for all of these particular use cases. I'm going to talk a little bit about the features in particular that we've just discussed. I'm going to start with over-the-air build distribution, which is at the very beginning. And the process is very easy. The developer uploads the new build to the MQA platform. That's a screenshot of the interface right there. You just simply drag and drop your build over to the little box there. The MQA platform will identify all of the test devices that are part of the test team. So that doesn't just mean it's looking at, say, the one phone or the one tablet that a tester has. It knows about all of the things that the tester has. The tester may have 4 or 5 phones and 4 or 5 tablets that they're testing on at a given time. And MQA is able to actually identify those. It'll notify the testers about a new version of the application, and then the testers will download a new version through the app or through MQA. So the way this works is the next time the tester starts the app will automatically check to see if there's an updated version, and then notify the tester that there's a new version and they should click to update. The update happens right within the app. It's very smooth, very simple, and the tester's going with the latest and greatest version. Next, we have in-app bug reporting. This is actually pretty cool. It's actually pretty cool to watch. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to demonstrate with the webcam today, but it's pretty cool to watch from both the app's perspective as well as from within the platform. So the way this works is that the developer, of course, adds a little bit of code to their application to make this go. There's a library that MQA provides that supports this feature. But when a tester discovers a bug within the application, all they have to do to report a bug is physically shake the device. This triggers the accelerometer within the device itself, which then triggers IBM MQA and activates it. At that point, MQA takes a screenshot of the application and gives the tester a means of typing in a bug report right there within the app experience. They can draw on the screenshot. You're actually seeing some screenshots over there on the right with some drawings on them. And can actually identify exactly what the cause of the problem was and how to fix it. Bug reports are reported in a very structured manner. They can be reported to both MQA as well as to RTC. So you can actually take this information and transition it directly into your existing workflows for bugs. And all of the details are included that you would expect, and some that you may not expect, including the screenshot of the bug report, as well as information about things like the device maker and the model, the OS version that was running on the device, the carrier and connection speed, battery life and resolution, and of course, as I mentioned, the screenshot and reproduction steps. From this information, the developer can get a very good report about exactly what went wrong, as well as all the details about the device itself. So, for example, the developer may learn things like, these bugs are only apparent on a particular version of a particular device made by a particular company. And it's Android, maybe they're only showing up on a Samsung Galaxy S2, but not on anything else. Maybe it's only on devices that have limited memory. Maybe it's only on devices running a particular version of the operating system, and so forth. Context that they would never get otherwise, because that may be forgotten or ignored by the testers who reported the bug. Direct user feedback, as we mentioned, is of course the feature where the users can report feedback directly back to the developers. Developers can customize this workflow within their application. They can specify how the feedback should work, whether it's triggered by a button in the application or a menu item or a feedback drop-down or something like that. And so all the developer needs to do is attach some code to a particular widget. And then, when the user actually triggers that widget, it actually brings up an unbranded feedback window where the user is prompted to type in feedback about whatever it is they'd like to talk about. They can type in a complete report, they hit send, and it's automatically reported back to IBM MQA. With that feedback, the developer also gets information about the device type, the operating system, everything we mentioned on the previous slide, which they can use to make more informed judgments about the problems with the application experience. Crash log reporting. When your app crashes, IBM MQA will actually log the crash event. This makes it easy to actually figure out what went wrong and why, and it all happens automatically. So from the user's point of view, they don't really need to do anything. All they need to do is just restart the application. With the crash report, you again get all of the information that we mentioned above, the device maker and model, the OS version, etc., as well as the most important detail for a crash report, which is the stack trace. For those of you who have a little bit of development experience, or who don't have a little bit of a development experience, I should say, the stack trace is basically the roadmap to identifying what happened on this particular crash, and then reverse engineering exactly back to the root cause. For a developer, stack trace is like gold, and they can use it to identify the issue and reproduce it and fix it much more effectively with it than without. You'll notice that if you look at the screenshot on the right, if you look in the upper right-hand corner, there's a number, 15, 53. These are the numbers of times that IBM MQA has detected this particular crash. So if the crash happens multiple times, say on many different devices in the hands of many different users, the developer isn't getting hundreds of thousands of crash reports even. They're getting one. And then the rest of them are aggregated together to show the developer which ones are happening more commonly than others, both giving them more information about the quantity of crashes as well as helping them see more details instead of being overwhelmed by a deluge of repeated information. We're going to do a demo here real quick.
Yeah, as you transition over the view on the desktop there, those features that you just talked about, as we've I know talked about amongst ourselves, are huge time savers. And when developers or testers try to compile information for a bug report and grab the screenshot or operating system version and other things, it takes a while for that information to really get assembled by that tester or developer. And having that done in, seconds and or a minute rather than 10, 15 or minutes or more can really add up over time as the development team needs to quickly respond to feedback. So,
Roger, are you seeing my screen?
Yes, you are up and running there, so thank you.
And roughly how long do I have for the demo?
Oh, you got about 10 minutes.
Great, okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started then. So this is actually what you're looking at here is the IBM Mobile Quality Assurance control panel. This is actually where a user could log in and see all of their apps that they have within the platform listed out in a single place. This particular demo account only has one app within it. That's this company contact app. Does my mouse appear on the
Yes.
Okay, good. So this is the company contact app that I have right here. If a user were, for example, to have many, many more apps that they're actually monitoring and observing, they would show up in the same list here. Over on the right, you can actually see, information about when the last session was with this particular app, the last time it was used, who it was created by, when it was created, as well as information about whether or not it has any session or bugs reported within the app. So you can quickly see, if the app is active and if it's getting the kinds of information it needs from your users. I'm going to go ahead and click into this. And this is the opening dashboard. Now, one of the things that I didn't highlight earlier is that IBM MQA actually separates your data into two portions. It separates it into data coming from your pre-production users, who are your testers, and your production users, who are your customers. The reason we do this is that your pre-production audience is completely different from your production audience. They may be using versions of your application that are never released into an app store. There are much fewer of them. You may only have a handful of testers, whereas you may have thousands or even tens of thousands or potentially millions of customers. And you want to be able to see their data differently. So logging in, this dashboard automatically presents you with information about your production users. Now this demo application doesn't have any production users because it's not actually in an app store. So you'll see that there's 0 sessions, 0 crashes, and 0 installations, and that's to be expected. We don't actually have this application publicly available, so there is no production data. But if I click on this pre-production tab, or pre-production button, you can actually see that there's now information available about this application in pre-production. I'm going to start it here on my phone, and we'll find out how long it takes for it to report some data. Let's see if we can get those stats to show up. It may take it a second for it to appear, so we'll come back to this page in a second. Down here at the bottom, you can actually see the total number of sessions that have been run with this app. If I click on the daily activity button, you can see that, well, we haven't done really many demos with this app in the past few days. Hopefully in the next few minutes, though, it'll recognize that I've started the application, that I'm running it on my phone. You can actually see the crashes as well as the number of installations as well, which gives you an instantaneous perspective about, say, how many times the app has been installed, how many times it's been installed today, etc. Oh, there we go, up here at the top. We have 4 sessions today. I just reported 2 crashes. There are no new installations today. Very good, that happened right away. And again, Roger, is there a way to show my webcam in this? We didn't test that ahead of time. I'd love to share, but if not, then we can move on.
Well, you can try it if you'd like. Up in the, to go back to the, I'll stop sharing for a moment, I guess.
And is there a thing that does it?
Yeah, it should be in the upper section there on sharing video. If not, then let's go ahead and skip that.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it. So I'll go ahead and move on from this right now, and we can, I'll describe what's happening on my phone, and maybe next time we can actually do a webcam. I don't actually see the feature. I'm sorry about that.
No problem.
I should have thought of that before starting this sharing. So let's scroll down on the dashboard. I'm going to go ahead and show you what's below this. We have, again, a demo application, and below this we can actually see the latest bugs and the latest crashes from this particular demo application. So, for example, over here on the left is a bug that someone reported. Here's a screenshot for the bug. It looks like that the application never actually loads any pictures. All the icons just stay spinning on the gallery. Over here on the right is another bug, the wrong pictures showing up in this particular spot here, and so forth. And you can actually see the user report multiple screenshots for a bug as well, which can give you more context. Over here on the right is a list of recent crashes within the application. This demo application is very convenient. It actually has a handy button that if you click it, it will crash. We actually did very intentionally write a bug into our application to make it show up. So we have the crashes that come from this demo application showing you exactly what went wrong and why. Below that we have a list of sessions. So we can see all of the people who've actually been using this application, the amount of time they used it, when they used it, who used it, and the type of device they used it on, as well as things like whether the application session had any issues. If I click into, let's go ahead and click into one of these bug reports. This is a complete overview of what happened in this particular user session with this particular app. So I open up this bug report, and I can see, for example, the app was run for 4 minutes. It was run by Rich. The version of the app they were running, the device type they were running it on. It was an iPhone 5S, including all of the information about this particular device. Amount of memory it had, the model, the firmware, the OS, etc. Wi-Fi state, I can see all the information that I need to know about the particular network settings the device came from. Battery state, 90% full. It was on battery, not powered. Screen resolution. Telephony information, for example, what carrier they came from, and then even location information if it's available. Below this, I actually get a running report of everything that happened within the app while it was in use. The screen orientation, networking state, the screen orientation changed, the battery state, networking information changed as the app was in use. The memory information, this continues on as this information is changed and updated. It looks like they're probably taking it on and off of a Wi-Fi network. They're doing this repeatedly. screen orientation change from face up to portrait. At this point, I should add, and we don't actually have it built into the demo app, but if the developer is actually using logging within their application, for example, if they're programmatically logging that certain events are happening within the app, those log messages are actually sent to IBM MQA as well. So you'll actually see those log messages appear in line with the rest of this information, giving you even more context about what was going on within your app. If I keep scrolling through all of this information, there's a lot of stuff happening here. I finally get down to the bug report. So I have essentially a guide showing me exactly what was going on within the application, including log messages, all the way up to the point that the bug was reported. For a developer, this is a very powerful tool to actually understand how the app is performing leading into these quality events. If I go up to the pre-production tab, I can also open the crashes list. This is the same information I just showed you on the home page, just more detailed. If there are more crashes, they would show up in the list here. For this particular demo application, we only have one. If I click View More, I actually get the complete details about this crash. I get the entire stack trace, which is what's really important. This is sort of the roadmap for a developer to really understand what went wrong within this app and why. If I click into the crash, it once again shows me a list of sessions that experienced this crash. So the crash happened 21 times. We mentioned that up here in the upper right, 21 times. And I can see down here all of the different sessions from which this crash was reported. So here I am. These are the crashes I just created just today on my iPhone 5S. We can also see that the crash has happened for Rich and for various other people in the organization as well. If I click into this session, I can actually go see the crash in the same context that I would see the bug report. So again, this is the session information. I get all the information about my device, my carrier, my network state, as well as the crash in the context of using the application. So once again, for a developer, this is incredibly powerful information that they can use to understand exactly what's happening within their application. The last thing I want to show you in this demo before we go back into the presentation is the process of uploading and managing your builds within the app or within IBM MQA. Again, this is just like the screenshot we showed you earlier. For a developer, as soon as they have a new build ready, it's very easy. They simply drag their final build file onto this box right here, and it's automatically uploaded to IBM MQA. From there, below here, they can actually manage which builds are active and which builds are not active. And they have a few features here that are particularly powerful. For example, they can say, I want this build to be the current one. This is the one that we actually want to distribute to our users and have them download. So when they start the application, of course, checks to see if it's the latest version. You can use this button here to control which of these builds in your list is really the latest version, which gives the developer the power to say, I want my users running this version, not the two that I uploaded 5 minutes ago that had a huge problem in them. You can specify whether or not you want MQA to record log events from this build, including crashes and bug reports. This feature is actually particularly powerful when you're actually putting your app into production. So you imagine you have a new version of your application, you're uploading it to the Apple App Store, and you know that the previous version of the App Store is buggy. You know that it's a problematic version. You've fixed all those problems. You've tested it. You're confident that they're resolved. However, you also know that when you do that, your users aren't really going to upgrade immediately. People don't always update their apps right away. They may take weeks to update it. And so that older, buggier version is going to be out there reporting problems for quite some time. You can actually say with this button right here, you know what, just ignore everything coming from that version. I don't want to hear anything else from this version ever again. I'm cool. I know what I need to know. I only want to see things coming from my latest version. Finally, we offer the ability to disable a version completely, which is beneficial for developers who are concerned, for example, that when their version is in testing, they don't really want it to escape out of testing and get copied or lost into the world. They may want to say, okay, I'm done with this particular version. I no longer want anyone to ever be able to run this version again. I'm going to disable it. By disabling it, it prevents it from ever running on a device. IBM MQA, when it starts up, it checks with the parent server to see if there's a disable request. If there is, the application can't run. So I think that concludes what we have for the demo of the platform today. Roger, did I miss anything? I don't think I did. But...
No, that's great. And of course, we're going to have 4 more sessions to go deeper into each of these different capabilities and certainly ask some more questions around each of those. Why don't we stop for just a moment, because we did have a number of questions on the line. I know we have a couple more charts to throw up here, but let's get to the questions perhaps first. And let's see. Padmaja asked if reports can be uploaded from emulators and simulators as well as the device itself.
Yes. So if the emulator is, if the code is correctly running IBM MQA, if it's been instrumented into the code adequately, then the answer is absolutely yes. It will upload just as if it came from a real device. You can actually see within the sessions list whether it came from a device or an emulator. I think the emulator shows up, at least for iOS, as x86. I could be mistaken on that. I haven't run an emulator over here yet, but it does show up as its own unique device type, so you can actually differentiate it as well.
She also asks, certainly in the report, you can see that the operating system version and network and so on can be shown. What about the memory status of the phone?
Yes. You can see the memory status of the phone, and again, if I go back into, well, I'm not sharing anymore. I can go back to sharing. Do that. So once again, sharing my screen.
Thank you.
Hold on here a second. There we go. I can close them briefly. So I'm back onto sharing my screen. If I go back into these pre-production sessions, here's a complete list of all the sessions. So if I go open, let's say, this one right here, I can click open this menu item, and I actually have the memory state of the device right here. So I can actually see the memory state of the device in line with the application. It also shows up in the application event list as the application is running. So here's a summary of the memory state of the application while it's running as well, giving the developer a perspective on, okay, what's really happening with the device memory while this app is actually running.
Very cool. Thank you. I'm going to read off one more question, but I will also let everyone know if you do have a question, you can unmute your line by hitting *6. Of course, if you don't need to ask a question, don't hit *6. Just sometimes lines can be a little noisy. So, but Hamid asks, does the user have the option to not send screenshots with the bug report in case the screen includes sensitive information at all?
Great question. We actually have a feature with the screenshotting that lets the user obscure sensitive information. So they have to send a screenshot, but there are basically 2 drawing tools. There's one that lets you draw, and I'm going to go back to my list of bugs here. There's one that lets you draw, the little things here that you see in red where they're actually highlighting the problem. There's another, and I actually don't see any reported this way. In fact, you know what? I may just report one. I have the phone here. I wish I could show you how the bug is reporting, but I'm going to draw on the screenshot. I'm going to obscure some things. So I'm going to obscure some of these problems, and then.
And you're doing this live right now on your phone.
Live. So as soon as I'm done, hold on here a second. Obscure some stuff. So I'm going to say that, I don't want you to see what's happening in these screenshots, so I'm going to add some privacy filtering here. I'm going to hit done, and I'm going to submit a bug. Loading. And again, I wish I could show you the process of submitting a bug. It's very cool. I hit report, and let's see how long it takes for that to report. So if I hit reload, maybe give another just a second here to find out how instantaneous it's feeling today.
Sure. And again, if you have other questions, please get ready. Hit *6 on your phone, and and ask a question here momentarily.
Hello, this is Thomas speaking. I have a question about the planned integration to, for sure RQM because testing and all this stuff. And at the beginning you talked also about the planning the investment of projects, it means focal point and things like that. How does it fit to all of these? It looks very good, yeah. So I think developer and the mobile user would like these to enhance the quality of the product. But how does it fit in the ALM story and in this DevOps story, and how integrate these to the existing infrastructure to manage all these stuff?
Yeah, a great question. And integration is a key part to IBM's strategy as customers look to maximize the value out of the newer offerings and integrating that into existing offerings. There are going to be some capabilities here, but I have to say, because this is an open call format, we are limited to just talking about what's in the open beta capabilities today. If anyone has very specific questions, we can arrange. Thank you, Tina. I was just going to mention your name, but look in the chat window here and contact Tina Ju, and Tina will help you with your very specific questions.
Maybe we can just highlight the fact that today with the open beta there is already integration with RPC over OSLC, which means you can push all the information that was presented today into a work item and kind of continue the dev lifecycle within your internal IBM-based systems and have an intuitive process.
This is Roy Solomon, by the way.
Yes, thank you, Roy. Actually, let's transition to Roy quickly here. If you go back to the slide. I think you wanted to finish off that thought there, Stanton, and then you can hop back to the slide.
If you're looking at the screenshot, of course, I just had this open here. Here's the bug I just reported. Here's the screenshot I took. So there's actually a separate drawing mode that I use to obscure the contents of these particular areas, and then I could go back and actually highlight it using the red pen. And in this case, I can say, I don't want you to see what I'm seeing on the screen. I don't want you to see my credit card information or the pictures I was looking at. I want to report that blind, but you can actually still report a bug using a screenshot and feel confident that it's not going to contain this personal information.
Very cool. So yes, flip back to the slides, and then we'll transition to Roy just to talk about a couple other things that are also in the series in the study group, and then we can leave with a couple calls to action for today and maybe any other questions. Roy.
Yeah, so the last topic that we kind of touched along the way was around App Store user sentiment analysis. So that's a feature that will be part of the open beta in the next few weeks. And the goal here is to kind of complete the dev lifecycle with regards of better understanding what the user is actually saying about your mobile applications in the different app stores. In our case, it's the iOS, Google Play, or Windows Phone app stores. And the goal is to make all the reviews information, the reviews and the comments that users share with you as a product owner or as a dev manager or the QA manager, and make it much more actionable for you. So the process that we take is basically we're scrapping all the App Store information and then run a bunch of analysis on top of it to help you, again, as a product owner, really figure out what users are saying. So as you can see on this series of screenshots, we basically create what we call a sentiment score, which means we're trying to figure out per version if the user satisfaction is going up or being regressed, and trying to help you figure out the reasons. And the reasons can be around the attributes of quality, like content or elegancy or pricing or privacy or performance. everything that we think you should be worried about as an app owner. I'm moving into the next slide. As you can see here, this is an information that is also related to production. This is how we monitor in production how the application behaves in terms of stability. So again, as an app owner or the QA manager of a specific application, not only I understand what users are saying, I can also see various metrics with regards to how the application behaves at the end of those users. So if I see users complaining about certain crashes, and I also see a lot of crashes count in my dashboard, and I have all the stack traces to figure out what went wrong there, then I can correlate pretty strongly what I need to fix in order to increase user satisfaction. So long story short, we're trying to bring all the production context from your end users and inject it into the dev lifecycle. And because we know that everyone is trying to achieve an iterative process where you submit new versions as frequently as possible, you also want to make sure that you fully understand all the context that is happening within your end users and their mobile application.
And then finally, I think we have one more slide. Bottom line, the call to action today is really to take a survey that we'll be sending to your inbox soon. Hopefully you're finding this technology as a potential great way to save some money and time in your quality mission for your mobile applications. But really, try it. Log into the MQA Open Beta, and this will be your homework for this week, is to go and sign up for an account there at the link that's provided, which is just simply qualityformobile.com, and get started utilizing this wonderful Open Beta opportunity.
Good morning. This is Sri. Nice presentation. I have a question from developer perspective. Say I have a mobile application. I'd like to make it enable to MQA. So my job is just to drop the build into the MQA dashboard. Is that I should do, or while doing the development itself, I need to do some kind of special coding to make it enable, make it work with MQA?
Right. So this is Stanton. Now I'll jump in and give you the answer. You do have to add a few lines of code to your application to make it workable with MQA. There is a library. The library is available for download on the website, and then there's a tutorial that explains how you add it to your application. It's a fairly straightforward process. It's a little bit different for iOS and Android, and I should have Windows Phone as well. But you can add it to your application, and once it's added, then you actually upload it directly to the MQA website. I should also add that if you're doing the application, if you're taking the application into production, you don't necessarily have to upload it. So long as it's actually instrumented within the app using the code, then it will begin automatically reporting to MQA without any upload required at all. So if you're going into pre-production, you're distributing it to your testers, you want full analytics about it, then you just upload it to the MQA website, and you're good to go.
Okay. And this adding extra code, that creates some kind of, performance issues with or without code, or user don't see any, because it is logging everything, right? So from performance perspective, this additional code, does it cause any issues?
The performance is very small. In pre-production, it does log a lot more information, so the pre-production library has more overhead. However, the production library remains silent and does not actually do logging, both for performance and privacy reasons, unless there's a problem or something to report. So in production, MQA is practically non-existent from a performance point of view. In pre-production, it does have a little bit of overhead, but it's still very small.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, that fulfills our time today. Thank you all for joining. I'm going to just regain the control here. You know, there certainly are many ways to get started with mobile first as well. Certainly, you saw here we have the open beta. Jump in, try it. Let's get started. Next week, we'll go into more detail on viewing crashes and bug reports, and it will also serve as a working session for us to, as we go in and try out the beta. If you have any questions, please jump in to our study group. The content that we have for next week is probably going to be very light, so it'll have a great opportunity for you to ask questions on your usage. Certainly, there's high-level links on the various tools and technologies for mobile first, the MQA open beta. Again, the link landing page for the study group is there. Stay in touch with the Mobile Frontier blog. And then something that you'll see also for continued learning here soon is a mobile learning circle for helping you learn about more of the other mobile testing products that are in the IBM portfolio. So with that, thank you all for attending today, and have a great day, and we'll see you next week for questions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This concludes today's webcast.